Hola, ¿cómo están? Y bienvenidos a una nueva entrevista de Carta Política. El tema que vamos a tratar en esta ocasión va a ser Estados Unidos. Volvemos con Estados Unidos, señores. Después de un largo tiempo, nos acompaña nuestro amigo Sean Gibbons, que ya nos había estado acompañando en el pasado para hablar sobre el escenario político de cara a las elecciones presidenciales de noviembre, donde, bueno, va a batirse nuevamente Joe Biden contra Donald Trump. Y bueno, no habíamos hablado un tiempo porque no había ocurrido nada demasiado relevante, dos primarias sin mucha competencia, pero ahora Jan nos va a explicar un poco sobre el debate presidencial que va a tener lugar el próximo jueves y cómo funcionan los debates en los Estados Unidos. So this interview will be in English, like always. How are you, Jan? Welcome to Carta Política.
I'm doing great, Philippe. I'm glad to be back.
We are happy to have you here. So we can start just with let's talk a bit about the current situation of the two campaigns. We finally have two candidates, Joe Biden by the Democratic Party and Donald Trump by the Republican Party. If you can give us a summary of the two campaigns at the time of the primaries, what is the situation right now?
Okay, yeah. So both Biden and Trump won their primaries with ease. Trump is going to be nominated as a Republican candidate at the Republican convention in July, and Biden will be nominated as the Democratic candidate at the Democratic convention in August. The convention is just a formal process where the party's nominee is selected, and the party does a lot of PR for the candidate and campaigning for them to the entire country. As for the Trump campaign, he's been pretty bogged down by his legal battles, which have limited his ability to campaign across the country. He's recently announced that he's selected a vice presidential nominee, but we're not aware of who that is at this time. As for the Biden campaign, he's been serving as both the incumbent president and has been trying to campaign at the same time, focusing on some key swing states that he's hoping to win. His presumptive nominee is the current vice president, Kamala Harris, and he's hoping to increase his approval rating before the election. Both campaigns are anticipating the upcoming debate on June 27th, and the candidates are polling in a statistical tie to each other.
Mm-hmm. How does the debate work? Is mandatory by the law? It's something organized just like freely by the media. You say they are not the official candidates yet. We have still the convention of the two parties, and they are already going to debate. How is this work?
Well, so political debates do have a very long history in America, but they tend to be pretty informal in how they have the structure, and it varies on a election year to election year process. As for the upcoming 2024 debates, they were negotiated by each campaign independently, outside of the traditional way that they've been decided upon by a bipartisan commission on presidential debates that both the Democrats and Republicans tried to establish. In this instance, the campaigns just negotiated independently with media organizations that host the debates, and the rules were kind of established by the campaigns themselves and the media organizations that are hosting them. So debates aren't always mandatory, but campaigns are, they frequently, in every American political election cycle for the presidential race, they have been kind of a norm for American politics. And they're politically necessary for the candidates to participate in, as they're seen as an opportunity to win more voters or to turn away more voters from the opposition candidate. And so the first debate will be hosted by CNN on June 27th of this year, and the second debate will be managed by ABC in September.
It's very interesting because, in Argentina, we have a law with all the candidates must participate in a debate. All the candidates. That means not only the two from the from the majority parties. Yes, we see that in the United States, this is different. I mean, only Biden and Trump, only the Democrats, only the Republicans. Why do third-party candidates never participate in the debates?
Well, kind of like what I was saying earlier about the informal nature of debate structures, qualifications for the third-party candidates to get onto debates are quite arbitrary and often constructed in a way that is particularly hard for these candidates to get onto them. The requirement for the first CNN debate is the candidates must be polling at least 15% in 4 different polls that were conducted nationally, and they have to be on the ballot in potentially on the ballot in enough states to win the required amount of electoral votes they need to win, which is 270. No third-party candidates meet both of these requirements. The only candidate that's kind of even close for the polling requirement is Robert Kennedy Jr., and he typically polls between 10 to 20%. And he was denied the ability to attend this debate because he's not on the ballot in enough states to get onto the debate. And this barrier that exists for the third-party candidates happens for a variety of different reasons. One is just because the informal nature of debates keeps the the way in which they're handled differently each cycle. So it's hard for the candidates to even have a framework to go on what strategy to get onto the debate stage. And also the major parties have a very large role in selecting like who gets onto the debate stage. So of course they're going to want to set rules that heavily benefit just them, so the Democrats and the Republicans. But yeah, that should be all for that.
Informality to keep the formality.
Of course.
Yes, but okay. Not only in the United States and not only in Argentina, but in all the world, there is a big discussion about the public debates between candidates in an election. You know, some say that it's a symbolic thing, that it's not important, that you can't convince a lot of voters with this, that it's just like a circus. Say some. Do debates in the United States matter, or they are just symbolic?
Well, while they may seem symbolic or just like a clown show or circus, they do provide voters with a view of the candidates and their positions on key issues that a lot of voters are looking into before the election. And they can heavily change in voters' perceptions of candidates, and even more importantly, the media's perception of the candidates that can affect media coverage that can last several weeks following the debates. So a good performance from a candidate could save their campaign and win a lot of votes over, and a bad performance from a candidate could really tank their campaign going into the election. And in American history, debates have had a pretty significant effect on the American public's perception of them. So while they kind of can seem symbolic, and the idea that you can win over votes just by one single event is hard to come by. They definitely do affect the final result in our elections.
Well, let's see how it works next week. Maybe we can talk about it later. But retaking the subject of the political situation and the campaign of Donald Trump's campaign, we can see that Kamala Harris will run for elections with Joe Biden for vice president, but Trump's side that he already has his running mate selected, but he didn't announce it yet. Who are the potential running mate of Donald Trump?
So yeah, at this current stage, it's still unclear who his selection is, but there's a large variety of candidates that the media perceives he's considering right now. The two governors that are that it seems like he may be considering are Doug Burgum of North Dakota and Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. They're frequently listed in articles as his potential nominees. There's also a cadre of Republican senators that are all vying for the position to be selected, which would include Tim Scott, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and Tom Cotton. There was a candidate that seemed very likely at one point, the South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, but it's unlikely that she will be selected, as she recently had a scandal come out related to her shooting one of her dogs in a memoir that she wrote. It was just a story about that. So that caused her to really fall out with the media and the campaign. So it's really unclear who Trump will pick at this time, but it likely won't be her.
Mm-hmm. There is no chance of his political enemies in the Republican Party. He will not agree with them.
Yeah, of course. He's going to want to pick a loyal nominee. He had a very big falling out with his former vice president, Mike Pence, based on Mike Pence not standing up for him during January 6th when everything was going down. Mike Pence ultimately decided not to go hand in hand with Trump. And Trump wants someone that is going to stand by him no matter what. So that is clearly something that he is trying to do while vetting right now.
Thank you, Sean. Maybe we can talk after the debate. Do you know what topics will dominate it?
It's not really clear. I do assume one of the main issues is going to be the economy, of course. Another key issue is going to be immigration. As you know, that's been a key issue that a lot of debate has been held over. Foreign policy is going to be definitely discussed regarding both candidates' positions on, the Israel-Palestine conflict, and then in addition, the Ukrainian-Russian war that is occurring at this time, and foreign aid that's been discussed. There may also be, topics like climate change, taxes, or, specific, issue-focused questions at the debate as well.
Foreign policy still dominates the scenario, not only.
Well, so it may be foreign policy, but I do definitely think that the economy is going to be a key focus of the debate. I think the economy, immigration, and foreign policy will probably be the three top.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your time. Thank you for these words. Do you have a final reflection to share with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, just to summarize everything, I think that both campaigns are statistically tied, and they're both going into this debate with really how they view it, nothing to lose, and they just want to make their push to go over the top. The lack of the inclusion of the third-party candidates is going to solidify a binary choice between, either Biden or Trump, and these upcoming debates and then the party nomination conventions are likely to heavily affect the course of the election, which is currently showing a stalemate.
Thank you, Sean. Y muchas gracias a todos los que nos están viendo y a todos los que nos van a ver. Con esto cerramos esta nueva entrevista de Carta Política. Les recuerdo que pueden seguirnos en Twitter como @politicacarta o en Instagram como Carta Política. También pueden seguir nuestro canal de TikTok y suscribirse acá abajo, y nos estaremos viendo en futuras entrevistas. Muchas gracias.